Swami Shivananda Vani. Hope you are liking the episodes. So stay tuned to Devakshar. Let's see what we are going to do today. Merely hearing repeated instruction will not help. One must sincerely follow it. Restlessness. Showing off in spiritual matters is harmful. Development does not come in a day. These are the topics that Mahapurush Maharaj will be discussing today. Place again is Belur Math. Time is July 15th, 1930. Many monks had been coming to the mutt today from early morning as though to witness some celebration, till quite a crowd had gathered around Mahapurushji. He too has been talking with them about God and spiritual matters without respite, thus satisfying all enquiries. At about 3:30 in the afternoon, an attendant announced, Maharaj, Y wants to come and meet you. He's extremely eager for an interview, and so he telephoned us seeking permission. He came here only the other day and had a long talk, said Mahapurushji. What disquiet could he have developed in the meanwhile? What is the use of a man receiving basketful of instructions? He must understand it and act accordingly. Otherwise, nothing will avail, my son. They go on repeating, the mind is very restless, yet they will not act up to my advice. Can restlessness be removed thus? The scriptures are full of instructions, to be sure, but can anyone make any progress by merely reading the scriptures? One has to fulfill those instructions in life. The weather forecast promises plenty of rainfall, said the master, but you will not get a drop of rain by wrinkling the chart that gives this information. So also, you may associate with holy men and study the scriptures, but unless you practice spiritual disciplines, nothing will avail. And I do not like anyone to sit so close to me while talking. I cannot bear their breath. At times, I have perforce to keep sitting there, but that is why I often stand up when it becomes unbearable. Besides, my boy, I cannot go on talking endlessly like that. My mental makeup is of a different sort. I talk because I have to, but they have no idea how much mental fatigue all this causes me. I like keeping to myself. That's bliss. But even so, do I forbid anyone to come? That is not so. I know that they are staunch devotees, though rather emotional. They think that it is all so easy, but it really isn't so. One has to undergo long hardships for that. Mere verbal assent will not do. It requires quite a lot of self control and intense spiritual struggle. One wavers and moves from one altitude to another only when one's own conviction is not firm. Do you know the real meaning of all this? They lack true love for God. They lack real hankering. Can anyone run about searching for the best waters all his life if he has a real thirst? He has come to the Master and taken shelter with him, but he does not consider that enough. He must have something more. Neither has he love nor steadfastness. Stick to the Master and follow him in your own way, and you will get everything in time. That is why the Master often sang, "Keep to yourself, O mind, run not to others' houses. Search within your heart whatever you want, and you shall be yours without much ado." This indeed is a priceless philosopher's stone. It grants all desires. What a number of gems lie scattered in the portals of the dancing hall that my mind is. So, my mind is a dancing hall where there are lots and lots of jewels around. I just have to pick them up. One should stick on with such conviction. God is the blissful self of all, and He is inside every heart. He lets everyone know whatever He is needed. It is He who fulfills all desires if one but prays with earnestness. He is the ordainer of all the desired results of everyone. It is He who vouchsafes all the fruits that people want, be these virtues, secular prosperity, enjoyment, or liberation. One has to tread steadily the path indicated by a perfect guru. This is difficult path, my son. One must need have steadfastness. So, all we need is steadfastness, faith, and above all, untiring diligence. As a man can never get water if he goes on shifting his site for a well as soon as he strikes hard ground, so also an aspirant can never succeed in his spiritual quest if he cannot continue in the same path with perseverance. Such a man can never reach God. I feel sorry for him because I know so much about him. What a fickle minded man he is. He has no depth. He takes everything so lightly. It is no good frequenting all sorts of places and mixing with all sorts of people without having become firm in one's own attitude. That shatters one's own conviction. Say ya to all, but sit tight in your own place. This he repeated several times. So say yes to everyone and everything, but stay steadfast in your place. One's own place, that is to say, what the Master called one's own spiritual attitude. One must get firmly established in one's own spiritual attitude. One must get that attitude fully matured, and yet one must live in harmony with all around us. Then, as though addressing the devotees of whom he has been talking, he said, I tell you, my son, you will get the highest joy from the Master's name itself. You will get everything from his name, be it spiritual ecstasy or God absorption. But everything takes its own time. Besides, you are a householder and you have your own worldly duties. Well, I understand you go to some solitary place now and then. Solitary living is very fruitful, as the Master pointed out. But this does not mean that you will not take any spiritual progress at all without that. One has to obey the directions of somebody with all sincerity. That is why the scriptures speak of placing oneself under a guru. A perfect guru informs the disciple of the correct path. He sets him on the road. He continued, what do they understand of spirituality? We have seen quite a lot of such so called paradoxisms of divine impulse. That is not what the Master taught. All that is a sort of a stunt for popularity. That is rather a source of evil. The Master would say, when you meditate, do so secretly within your mind in a solitary corner or in the forest. Those who belong to the lower grades of aspirants are given to showing off their spiritual attainments. They seek popularity. Why is anybody so eager for external expression? That only betrays that such a man is not fully established in his own special path. It will not do to be restless. One has to get deeply absorbed in the spiritual exercise. One must strengthen one's spiritual attitude in one's own mind. One may get a temporary enthusiasm by noticing somebody else's spiritual fervor, but then one must remember that all such men had to pass through hard struggle. All had to practice for long with diligence, and then only had they the grace of God. As a matter of fact, God does become gracious when one is sincere. There is no injustice in his domain. He is just to all. He who seeks gets him. His compassion is on all. In fact, he is always, and he will always be only too eager to help everyone. Call on him earnestly, and he is there for you. But they have neither the desire nor the will. They make no effort. Instead, there is only so much of restlessness and complaint that they are not getting anything, that they are not making any progress. It does not all come in a day. It needs introspection and, along with that, regular practice. One need have no worry if one but does regular spiritual practice. Peace is bound to come. Let them but make some effort to see if the result is a fact or not. Tell him that he need not come to me now. I told him everything necessary so that very day. Let him now act accordingly if he would have peace. The attendant kept on thinking, ah, how very solicitous he is for every devotee's welfare. How deeply he feels and thinks for all his devotees. See, God always thinks for his devotees. So let us also think for him. If we think about him, he will get attracted, and we will be able to attract him and his grace towards us. So let us pray, let us think about Sri Ramakrishna or any God that you all believe in. Hope you enjoyed today's episode. Thank you so much. Stay tuned